はい、皆様ごきげんよう。Jcuインサイトのお時間です。CPAC ワシントンの会場からお届けしています。これから行いますのはブレント・ボゼルという方、メディアリサーチセンターというアメリカにおいてリベラル偏向報道、これを徹底的に調査して国民に対して何が偏っていない情報なのか、公正な報道なのかということを示すですね、日本にも本当にこういう報道機関を調査する部門があればいいなと思うような理想的な活動を展開している研究機関の所長さんのインタビューを皆さんに聞いていただきます。どうぞ。Jcu を設立して一番最初の年ですね。実は僕7年前かお会いしてるんですけど、覚えていらっしゃいます？
I have a vague memory. I do. And because we were talking about the media in Japan. Yes, we were. And I said that we would help you. Yes. And so we will. The offer stands.
メディアリサーチセンターの中を実際見学もさせていただいて、どんなお仕事をしているかっていうのも現場で見させていただいて、このようなメディアバイアスと戦うその機関があるということをすごくある意味羨ましく素晴らしいことだなと思いました。
It's very important, and we've spoken with public policy leaders in other countries. I recall when you had Czechoslovakia before it split up, I was visiting with the vice prime minister or the number two there, and he came to see me, and we were talking and joking, and I said, our media are a bunch of communists, and he said, no, you have liberals, we have communists.
OK、 じゃあ、すいません、今からじゃあ本番始めたいと思います。今日僕が主に聞きたいのは、メディアリサーチセンターのその役割、アメリカで果たしている役割、それから設立の経緯とか動機、ちょっとまず前半そんなことを伺いたいと思います。
It was my belief when I formed the organization in 1987 that the media were the most important element of the public discussion, because in our country, the news media were dominated by the left, so that any idea that was reported went into the media as a wonderful idea and came out as a horrible idea. And therefore, I believed that the media were the top priority of the conservative movement. And I think that's true for any movement anywhere in the world.
はい、ありがとうございます。あなたのメディアリサーチセンターは実際日本でももう保守系のいろんな著書でも紹介されているぐらい、もう日本にもそして世界にもこういう機関があればいいなというふうにすごく役割を頼もしく期待されているんですけれども、実際このメディアバイアスと戦うためにアメリカで今どのような役割を果たしておられますか？
The very first thing you have to do is prove it.You have to document it, not just to show the anecdotal evidence. Last night, the reporter on this network said that thing that was slanted to the left. But more importantly, the empirical evidence to show how that reporter has a history of doing that. Because with the former, it may be that the day before that reporter has said something totally different, and therefore it'd be very unfair to him to tag him as having a bias. That's why you have to look at the long term. So everything for us began with research and documentation, which we showed you.
7年前にメディアリサーチセンターに実際お邪魔した時に、もうビル丸ごとものすごくたくさんの研究員の方が動いてらして、でその時私が聞いたのは、もうテレビもラジオもそれからネットニュースも 新聞もありとあらゆる媒体を毎日調べ尽くしているというふうに伺ったんですけれども、もう本当にそれは一部私が見ただけのことだと思うので、実際どれぐらいの人数の方で毎日どれぐらいの作業をされているのか、簡単に教えていただいていいですか。
We have around 70 employees and then others around the country that we use. But this is interesting. 7 years ago, when you came, a new phenomena was hitting the world, and it was social media. We are in a rapid revolution, the most rapid communications revolution in history, where we are going from the news era to the information age. And so you now have to look at an even bigger issue, which is the censorship of ideas. And we can talk about that, but that is a greater threat to you than it is to us.
確かにちょうど7年前お邪魔した時にあなたは予言されてたんですよ。もうこれから本当テレビの時代じゃなくなると、全てはスマホで全部が済む時代になって、みんなこれでしかもう情報を取らなくなる時代になるから、それを見ててごらんって言ったらまさにその通りになったわけです。私はそのことを強く印象的に覚えています。
And why do I say it's a bigger threat to you than it is to us? The United States is the only nation on earth where the freedom of speech is enshrined in its very Constitution. It is our First Amendment. It is that which distinguishes us from the rest of the world. So we can fall back on the legal right to free speech. I worry about every other country that has a radical censorship of thought taking place. And other countries, your country, can't fall back on that constitutional right the way we can. That's why it's a bigger threat to you.
おっしゃることすごく同意するんですが、しかしもう日本や海外の立場からアメリカの特にこの2020年の大統領選に絡むめちゃくちゃなその報道、そしてその後有名になったらキャンセルカルチャーとかを見てますと、アメリカも本当にどうしようもないところまで来てるなと、それと戦うのは非常に大変なんじゃないかと思うんですけれども、そういったアメリカのこのメディアのひどい現状についてどのように憂いておられるのか聞かせてください。
When we started in 1987, we were dealing with people who considered themselves reporters, who believed they were reporting the news fairly and objectively. And they objected when we said they were biased because they believed they were good reporters. Today, well, maybe we should start with that. Around the time we met, I had written a book, and at the end of it, I suggested that although we were being very successful in our mission, we had to worry that if you look at a rat that is cornered, it instinctively goes for the jugular. And the news media were never going to change their colors. Instead, they were going to come after us personally. And I'll continue if you want to translate. And so today, we've arrived at that point where no one in the news media calls himself a reporter. They call themselves journalists, which allows them to do anything they want to. They no longer report news. Instead, they push agendas. They push a narrative they want to push. Take, for example, Donald Trump. They attacked him every single day, over and over and over again. And then they don't report the good news they don't want to report. Again, all of Donald Trump's accomplishments were never reported. So this is a weaponized radical left that has taken over the quote-unquote news media because news really no longer exists.
まさにトランプの例えというのは本当に日本にいる我々でもこんなことがあっていいのかっていうぐらいめちゃめちゃだったと記憶してるんですが、この状況はどうでしょう。これからさらに加速的に悪くなるのか改善されていくのか、また良くするためにメディアリサーチセンターはどういう戦いをこれからしていくのか聞かせてください。
Well, every time I think it can't get worse, it does. You have to recognize that the news media today have the power to elect presidents. They have more power than any political machine. We've shown it in polling that we did. The American people did not know about massive scandals revolving around Joe Biden. We did polling data, and it showed unequivocally that had the American people simply known the truth, just the truth, Donald Trump would be the president today.
じゃあ私から最後の質問になるんですけれども、私のすごく大事な親友の、ダン・シュナイダーがですね、去年の夏からそちらに加わってるんですけれど、彼は今後、メディアリサーチセンターでどんな役割を果たしていくんでしょうか。
I don't know. No, Dan is heading up our new division, Free Speech America, and he and I are going to Europe tomorrow to meet with some parties in Europe to discuss Free Speech International. I believe that nations of the world need to come together, and movements all over the world need to come together and celebrate a human right that we have, which is to speak our mind and not be told by any government, and certainly not by a cabal of leftist radicals in California, what we can and can't think, whether it is in Virginia or Tokyo.
ありがとうございます。
We'll start doing it again. Our soldiers are very special. When a wonderful town in Ohio has difficulty, we are going to take care of that town.